an absolute pleasure to have you here as we embark on a journey with the true realm of UI UX design with a true trailblazer, Arun Adithya. Currently lending his expertise as a Salesforce developer and Accelerize 360, Arun is not just a tech enthusiast, but a creative force in the world of UI UX design. As a dedicated student at MLRIT, he embodies embodies the perfect fusion of learning and application. Yeah. Can we start again? Sorry, there was some issue. Yeah. So today Arun will be our guide through the intricacies of UI UX design, sharing his expertise, insights, and perhaps a glimpse into the future of this ever-evolving field. Whether you are a seasoned professional or just starting to explore the world of design, get ready for an enlightening session with Arun Aditya. So please join me in extending a warm welcome to Arun as we uncover the secrets and possibilities that lie within the exciting career of UI UX design. So hello Arun. So
Hello, Krishna. Thanks for the warm welcomes, and it's very great to actually be in the session. Thank you, guys. So, today we are going to talk about UI and UX and my experience on what we did and what is going to be the future of it. So, what is UI in a very eagle view terms? Would be all the buttons, the animations, the fonts, and everything you see inside a digital product. Now, it could be a website, it could be a mobile app, it could be a tablet functionality. But the point is, the visual effects come into UI. But there's a difference, right? UI and UX. Now, UX is basically about what the user feels. Let's say you are on Swiggy and you are trying to click a button where you place the order. Now that button takes you from one page to another. How the page moves and what do I feel about it, that comes under UX. Now this is very eagle perspective. There are more things when you go dig and deeper. But that is how basically we define UI and UX. But why do we need all this? Why are people actually excited about this? Now why are jobs getting created could be a good question to start. Now, the first thing is, I'm sure many of you use Spotify and appreciate how it looks. And the concept behind UI and UX getting into, very happening into the field because many people actually stick to the products, but they don't feel that the product feels like home. Now, you could be using a different mobile application. Let's say you are using Instagram and let's say the button that lets you create a post changes its position to somewhere in the middle of the screen. Now what would you feel about that? Now that would change the entire perspective of how you're used to things. Now UI and UX is not about creating new stuff or inventing the new wheel. It's about developing a relationship with the customers that you already have. Now how do I do that? Is by giving them what they need. Now how do I know what they need? Is again a good question to start. That way, that's where you actually come in, actually help out people and solve problems. Now, what problems would I be solving? Now that let me show you a simple example on how there's a small mobile application. There's a website that I really love, and they solve a simple problem on helping how people usually sleep. Now, let's say you want a sleep reminder saying that you slept for this time and you want to wake up at this time. Let me just share my screen that way. Yeah. For those of you who are interested, this is called as Qbert. It's one of the best UI and UX platforms that you can meet and learn about. And let me show you one of their projects. It's called a Sleepy Owl. This could be a fresh start for you guys, whoever is trying to get into this. So this is one of the most common or the most basic one that I tell people how to present and how to solve a problem that they already have. Now, so Sleepiest, this is the challenge for that problem. Basically, you want to design a user app where you basically set a new song that plays whenever you try to sleep or whenever you try to relax. Now, how the buttons are designed, how it goes, all of that is presented like this. You do the branding, you then create a good experience for the user, telling that this is how it's going to look like, and this is how you present a UI and a UX project. But when you go deeper and deeper into these things, You finally realize that every company needs this, and it's just not because just solving their problems, it is more of building that communication with people and the customers that are using the products. So this is how it's going to look like. I mean, how you present it. But when I talk about a real project, this is something that I really worked on. This is one of my projects. So how it feels now? Yeah, let me tell you. Before you go ahead and create or make a new UI and UX project, you basically start with some few steps. The first step would be wireframing. Now, wireframing could be new to you guys. Some might not be new, but this is what you do. You just define which element goes where. Let's say some images are going to go in a carousel. You define it like this. You say, if I click this, where does it take me? Now, all of that, you call it wireframing. See, this is how it's going to look like before you make anything. These are the skeletons. From there, we start placing each and every element, and then we created this navigation path, and then define how a user starts his journey and ends at some place. Now, this happens for every mobile app, every website, and every digital product that you constantly use. You might notice it, but if I have to show you, this is one of the projects that I worked on. It's called Homeground. You can download it as well. So yeah, this is a welcome screen when do you get there, and you can create an interaction similar to this using one of the tools. Now I'm using Figma; it is most popular and most preferred. But yeah, this is how it's going to look like a user journey. How you select things, how this has to be placed, which color has to be placed, which themes has to be placed, where does it take me, how do I fill it? All of this happen inside this. Now, you design a home page where a user always lands, and then you design something so that he could go ahead see some things. So that's how a UI and a UX project would look like. But just to give you a brief on what I'm talking, this is what I'm talking, and this is needed for companies, most startups, because they are launching the projects
Yeah.
really new, right? So when it's going to be really new, you might need all of this built up, and that is where you get the most of the jobs coming up. But not really every startup needs a UI UX designer, because some developers actually they design it themselves. But when you think about really big picture like Spotify has more than 200 people working just on UI and UX, and they do not develop any code. They only design stuff. So why do they spend so much time on that? Could be it is mostly because you see you create a branding between you and the person who is using your app and the website. That way they stay connected. I mean, they feel like home every time they come in, and nothing is misplaced. They know where to go and where to not to go. And that experience is very important when you grow as a very big multinational brand. It could be Spotify, it could be Meta. Even Meta has a lot of engineers working on it. So that is where it lies. If you have keen interest on choosing fonts, choosing palettes, and segregating things and creating this interface where everything is linked, then UI UX could be your next journey to pick up. Now pieces and pieces gain every day, but yeah, that is the big picture on why you need UI and UX.
So, like, when we come to UI UX, if we see the apps, do you think that the UI UX is the basic, like, what you can say, UI UX is the basic thing to pull an audience towards an app? Like, if you have such that Spotify has 200, 250, but when we see some apps like Discord, which have a very basic UI UX, like they've just transformed it to a like after this update. But till now, Discord was a very basic kind of. It had a very basic UI UX, which is not that much attractive, but still it attracts a lot of audience. So,
Okay, see, Discord has a purpose before they had a very huge customer base before they actually updated those changes for the UI. So the point is, it shouldn't feel like I came to a new place. It should still feel like I'm in my home, but there are changes that can help me. So some companies prefer that I need to go this way, and some completely reinvent the wheel. Could be Messenger. We know how the Messenger
yeah.
used to be, and now it is, well, you know how it is.
So,
So
do
every day
you?
you create new
Yeah.
jobs that way.
Hmm.
So when a company decides I want this change to be made, a single button color changing could be a very huge thing. If you're familiar with Instagram's logo, they have a little brightened it, and that
Yeah.
caused a huge thing inside the market. So yeah, UI UX could be small, could be big, but it depends on where you're striking it.
So, are there any some common misconceptions with what UI UX design which you would like to
Oh,
clarify?
there are actually
Yeah.
some people think UI and UX is just graphic designing. It's completely not. It's not
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
pull up images and do stuff. That's
Yeah.
not what you're trying to do. You're trying to build up some problem. You're trying to solve something here. You're not creating stuff. And there was also misconceptions that designers don't actually need skills for this. You actually do need skills. You need to be familiar with tools. You need to be familiar with a lot of resources. Where do I get them? Where do I modify them? And some go hand in hand. Sometimes we do need animations made, but where do they play and how do they play is on the designer role again.
So, like, what things do you use to test your designs, as in, for firstly? Like, how do you approach your, like, how do you react to the clients or whatever? Like, because you make the designs about to yourself, then client says something else. So, is it a,
Okay. That's an ongoing thing. When you're working for a service company and there are clients
yeah,
overhead, some dude will walk into you and tell you that increase the logo size, don't do that, don't do this, increase the font, I can't see it. But end of the day, we want to make sure that users are not taking it very bad. Let's say you develop what the client asks. The best thing to do is to get a survey from the users that are using it and then make changes according to them, because that would be the best way to go, because we don't want to insult the client either, right? So we give him what he wants first. We test it out, then see, okay, is this how the users are reacting to it? Now that could be tracked in many ways. Each click is noticed and each experience is noticed as well. I mean, it's not just service. We see a lot of things when you develop mobile apps. Yeah. So yeah, that is the way I would go. There could be many solutions. I mean, many people would maybe neglect clients or maybe do what they think is right. But I would say, end of the day, you want your customers to stay, right?
so right now you're working in Accelerize as a Salesforce developer.
Correct.
So you're working on back end and front end both, I guess, like from
Yeah,
the
my job
coding
varies.
point of view also and from the UI UX point of view also in
Correct.
creating apps. Like, so isn't that a double the workload for you sometimes? Like you have to work
Hmm.
on the back end also and on the front end also. Like sometimes we see that people working on the back end, they prefer someone else for the front end. Like you might have worked as a freelancer too for some people who want you for the front end thing. So how does it changes your state and when you are the back end guy also and front end guy also?
You see, the front end is a very good plus if you're going to be a backend engineer in the future, because you know where what goes and what looks beautiful. But when you work as a backend engineer, all you deal with is more of a networking and linking things. Backend is more of connecting a database, and every click that you make is resembling something from the
Yeah.
database or the data. So what
Mhm.
happens is, back end role is more kind of shady, but when it comes to a front end developer, you
Yeah.
see you see less colors. But yeah,
Ah,
it's a good change, because if you know both, you can actually recommend someone. If he's doing a front end job,
yeah. Yeah.
then you could say this is not right, this is right.
Mm.
You could give the suggestions, but yeah, end of the day, it's the client who decides.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
like,
companies do prefer
mm.
to hire separate front end and back end engineers,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
load would be too
That's why
much.
I asked you because it's somewhat double the workload if you're working for both ends because companies tend to hire two different set of people for that. So yeah.
Yes, but see, Salesforce is already a tool that is already built, in the sense it has all the functionality.
Mhm.
The things that I'm going to build require automations or extra features on top of it. So what happens is, if you are both front end and back end, you know where the component goes in the front end, you know what you're doing at the back end,
Ah,
but you already have a base there. So it
mhm.
doesn't really make it a double work. It
Yeah.
mostly makes it uh, all in one guy, I guess.
So like if we come to UI UX, it's a form of designing. If we see, it's just a different way, but it's a form of designing. So how do you pursue art? Like because UI UX, you there might be a fondness of art in you from the childhood itself, or from the young days, if I say. So how, like, what is the, how does it reflect your work also? Like,
Okay. I don't want to take sides, but you need an eye for colors and positioning and how it looks, how it breathes. Now, I see it that way. When I see a
mm,
bunch of images, bunch of text lying around, I see
mm,
where's the place to breathe, how are the colors talking to each other. I mean, I see it that point of view, but yeah, it comes and goes. But I think it comes by practice as well. You see a lot of apps, you use a lot of apps.
mm,
That way, you know where, how, and what people are doing, and then you come up with something on your own. You
mm,
maybe watch something, or maybe you build something.
yeah,
Same way. That's how you go from the art perspective. It's
mm,
more of choosing colors and palettes and fonts. Now these
yeah.
three play the most important. Yep.
So where, when there's a when there's an app like random, if I say, like, every app has a different, genre, if you see. So, how do you catch that genre very profoundly? Like, are there some, like, it's it because of the cinema you watch, or because of the books you read, or anything which aspire you that, yeah, I'm getting the genre correct. Like, not just the client also, but sometimes for your own satisfaction, you might get the, oh, I'm not getting the genre. So, are there any
Okay.
exercise which you do?
I'll give you one of the most famous examples.
Yeah,
I think most of you guys use Netflix, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think it's red?
Uh,
It
because of the blood.
basically, if
Yeah.
you no no no,
More of the bloodshed they show.
you see when you go to a cinema hall, which color do you
Yeah.
see the most? Your chairs
Black.
are red.
Ah, sorry. Yeah.
Your carpets are red.
Yeah.
Everything you see is red,
Yeah.
and it goes with black. So what Netflix really thought of giving that color or giving that, you say, like the genre, is because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They want to give you that cinematic experience, so they've
Mm-hmm.
chosen those colors. Similarly, if you're trying to build a, let's say, a charitable company for plants, you would of course choose green or something more subtle, could be yellow, like that. Now, your color, the primary color, makes the whole difference. If you're using blue, it probably shows you more of professionalism and
Yeah.
could be related to healthcare, like that. That is how we pick colors to give that genre. And when you're trying to build it, and sometimes you see that, okay, this is not what I want, then that is when you realize your colors are probably missing, your content is probably missing, or that something is just not right in place. You figure that out that way. Now there is no exact way to tell you that this design is right and this is wrong,
Yeah.
but there are ways to tell you that this should go here and this should go here. That much you can do that by experience, just by playing around with multiple apps. I mean, I wouldn't say anybody could be a designer just because you use 10 apps. It's about if you noticed every change that's happening in every second that you are in the app. Yeah, that's how it works. I know I'm complicating things, but yeah.
No, but it's still an important insight for inside the world of UI UX. So when we come across, like, recently we heard that Figma was acquired by Adobe.
Correct.
So what changes did it brought inside the Figma? Did you
Right
notice
now,
any change, or is
no,
similar?
right now they're not going to change anything because
Okay,
they
okay.
still want to keep the customers.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if they make it paid, there'll probably be another tool that's going to become up and
Mm.
people would be using.
But right now, Figma is the best, we can say.
Yeah, hands down, that is the best tool you can get.
Because I have some friends of mine which had a same dilemma when Figma was acquired by Adobe, that they would make it paid as soon as possible.
Everybody was
So
shocked when
yeah,
Adobe acquired it. Yeah, but we thought they still want to keep all the billion customers, right?
yeah, because yeah, if they lose the customer, then there are millions of players in the market. So
Correct. Some other tool will show up, and then
yeah.
we never know.
So do you can you share any specific resources also for where, like, other
Okay,
some
I could.
basic templates or something? Yeah, which you used to see when you were in your starting days for inspirations or something.
Okay, no problem. I would share you these stuff. One second.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Take it.
yeah. So basically, when you're a freebie, when you're just starting out, you don't have any paid resources with you,
Yeah,
and you do want something, and you do want to make something, then I would recommend a lot of websites. The first one would be the hero icons. This will give you
yeah,
the most basic UI and UX icons that you can use, from exit to entering everything. And you could actually pick some shapes and create that feel that you need. And the
yeah,
next would be the flat icons. And if you're starting out, just go with interface icons. Do not use anything other than this, because these give you that basic feel and not reinvent the wheel. I mean, I could have a total emoji with home, but that is not what the user want, right? So yeah, these two tools could help you a lot when you're thinking about icons and stuff. But if you want to go deeper, go to Figma, and you should be able to find something called as community. And in that, you can find a lot of tools and lot of already pre-built stuff that you can see and use. Now, I mean, don't copy these, because there's going to be a difference. But yes,
yeah.
you can. This is good. This can be a good start for you. You can search about
So
anything. Let's say I wanted a
this,
dashboard, for
mm,
example. I don't know how to design it, but I want to see
yeah,
what others did.
mm,
Then you just do dashboard, and you'll find multiple of those. Now you can start from there. And if not, there's a one more a really good tool. I don't know who use this or people use this or not. This is called as Dribble, and it has almost everything you need for inspiration. I mean, there is a lot of work going on, and people even hire from here. See, these are all designs and UI UX that people made. This could be some dude making a UI, and this
yeah.
could be agent. See, he's ready to work for you. Now,
Mhm.
yeah, this is where the hiring begins. Now, Dribble is a very good platform
Okay.
to start with. Yes.
So Dribble
What should
provides
if I
you
make?
everything, even the templates, even the hiring processes and everything.
Yes, this used to be my very start of the work. I made a community
Oh,
app, I guess. Yeah, these used to be things that I used to make.
mm,
But yeah, you could start from here. You could get hired. You could do a lot of stuff.
yeah. So, like, uh, what role does user testing plays in designing process? Like,
User testing, which
yeah,
side of the role?
like user feedback, like when you give out a design.
Yes.
So, does sometimes, uh, because sometimes the user might ask for something which is rather not possible in the way the app has been designed. So, how do we come to a middle ground in that experience?
Okay, that's a good
Like,
question.
yeah,
See, everything that user wants is not, I mean, basically it's not,
yeah,
it
yeah,
might not go according to the blueprint that you already have.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean you reinvent the wheel again.
Mm,
You do what you do and you do it well. We all know that sometimes iOS is not very good with a lot of UI. You know how
yeah,
Apple Maps is never used when it's compared to Google Maps. That doesn't mean you'll change the entire Apple Maps UI to Google Maps. That will just mean that you are contradicting yourself, right? So when those situations occurs, you have to decide between two things. Do you want to keep the user, or do you want to keep the brand? If you want to keep the brand alive, you do what you do. But if you want to keep the users as the most central priority, let's say majority of them are complaining about this, you try to fix it. If you can't fix it, stay with the brand. I mean, that is what I was taught. But yeah,
so, like, like you have worked as a freelancer. So, how is it different? Like, now you're a corporate guy, if I can say. So, how things are different working
everything is
independent
different,
working?
dude. It's not you. You have some people
Yeah,
asking to you to meet, give give presentations, attend stand-ups. Now the corporate world works like that, but
yeah,
when you're a freelancer, it's more of you deliver the work with the days,
mm,
then you get the feedback, you make the changes, you deliver it again,
yeah.
but you take your sweet time doing it.
Mm.
That doesn't work
So,
with the corporate world.
so do you think that corporate kind of inhibits artists, like what I can say, artists' ideas? Inhibits not, it traps down some of the free will or some of the floating ideas which artists usually get. Corporates somehow. traps them.
That is true, but only up to an extent. Let's say you are a UI and UX agency. The agency that I just showed you, Cuberto, they have very impressive work going on. Only
Hmm.
because most of them are designers and they know what they're doing. So even if you are in a corporate world, you have a group of people who know what they're doing, and you're not alone designing things. Then yeah, art won't be dead. But there might still be restrictions on your art, but for
Yeah,
valid
yeah,
reasons.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's cool.
Hmm. End of the day, they are paying you.
Yeah, that is the main purpose we are here.
Yeah. So, could you share some day-to-day responsibilities of a UI UX design now in different work environments? Like I'll be continuing this question from myself. Like when you're
Okay.
working independent, or when you're working as a corporate person, both
Hmm.
ways.
All right. When I'm working as a independent guy, let's say I have a
Yeah.
client who needs a specific website made. The
Hmm.
first thing you do is drop the wireframes. But when it comes to a corporate world, the wireframes are already made for you by your team. If they didn't make it, you might want to sit with a lead that is doing it, and then you'll discuss how the next frame would go. But when it comes to your freelance duty, the first thing you do is draw those frames and show the guy. And if the client is okay with all the design and he wants to see real stuff going on, that is when you begin the project. But in a corporate scenario, the frame would go around 2 to 2.5 weeks in sprints. The first day you would be basically having sketched out screens, but this is the content that should go in is decided on the first sprint, and on the second sprint you place where what will go where. That is
Yeah.
how that is there. But in a single perspective of you know what you're doing, so you create multiple screens. You can directly start with the design if you have it clear in your head.
So
Yes, Sanjay.
Sanjay has raised his hand. So yeah, Sanjay, you have a question. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. See, branding does come into UI UX only when the product that he really has is already existing. Now, if you're going to create a new brand for him, then that would mostly be graphic design more than UI and UX. So let's say you created a bunch of logos, you created some headlines, you created some ID cards related stuff. That is all graphic design. But when it comes to a specific product that he has, let's say he has an app, he has a website, or could be some digital product. If he has that, could be a tool, could be a dashboard. So if he has that and you're designing that, then you would call that UI and UX. Is that clear? Did you get me? Yeah. Yeah, actually, UX engineers are also very famous, but usually it goes together. I mean, it's good if you have both the skills, but if you have UX as a primary role for your skill, then what you will be doing every day is to collect reviews, see which to what changes need to be made. If the button has to be go smaller, if this navigation shouldn't be made here, or if this pop-up shouldn't be occurring, that is probably where your role lies. Now it depends on company to company and how they hire people, but end of the day, yes, there are UX engineers, and most of them work in Google separately. UX engineers are famous at Google. They have a bunch of people working for that. And I think there is a course as well. UX design. I would recommend this course if you are very interested in UX. It's a free course by Google. Yeah, it's in. Udacity, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I'll share it with you at the end of the meeting. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's not a
Yeah.
problem. So I've come across, yeah, Sanjay, do you have any other questions? Yeah. So latestly, I've come across with the newer friends who are doing graphic designing that AI has very much affected their work because nowadays, like if I can go on some website, like if we see Adobe Firefly, if I can go, I can design my own posters and stuff because of the quotient. If I have the amount of quotient and the things it is giving me, the AI generated images and everything, if I on my need. And if I like them, I can use them. But how do you think that will that affect in UI UX design also in future? Somewhat.
See, it does because
Yeah.
it can help you, but it doesn't entirely solve your problem. Now, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how ChatGPT could write code for you, but that doesn't mean it understands what the client
Mm,
is saying, right?
yeah.
End of the day, you need human intervention, but there could be a lot of help, or sometimes right now in UI UX, there is no such tool that can give
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
the
That's what
Figma
I'm saying
file
in the
for you.
future.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
but in the
currently
future,
there's no tool which I also have come across that currently there's no tool.
yes,
But yeah, in the future, because it can help also both the ways, and it can. But the only way it will disrupt is the engineer point of view only, because
correct.
it can help both the ways. Even you can use some of the AI in the future for your help or for your something if you're not getting the correct genre. But for destruction point of view, it's currently a biased one, the AI. So
It can take away jobs for the the entry level engineers and entry level
uh,
designers, but no, it's not going to entirely change the field.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll still need human intervention, and you'll still need to understand clients. That is the main problem, understanding clients.
So how did you come across UI UX? Like, let's go to the
Start of it.
start of your journey. How did you come
Hmm.
across?
What did I design? All right, I in my college I work for a club called CI. It's called Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. I
Okay.
started out as designing few screens, not screens. Most of them are posters and banners for events, like you
Oh,
guys do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then slowly, what happened is I came across this new field that people are talking about, UI and UX. Then I thought, what do they do? And then I started making my own. And then I built this one app where I sell. Basically, it's a Cashify type of app that I
Okay.
tried to build. And
Okay.
then from there, it just kept me going. How could I make this better? Where could I add animations? How do I
Mm.
do that? Do this? And then yeah, it slowly builds up. If you have that enthusiasm, give it a try. I guess that's how you find your passions.
So I've just passed your fourth year, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just going to. I didn't do it yet.
Oh, okay. You're in internship. Go
Yes.
to. Oh, okay. So how did academics and UI UX go got along? Like, because you were
Hmm.
freelancing throughout your college, plus you have clubs activities, you have college fests and everything, then you have academics. So because we all are engineering students only just like you, and we have our interests also. So managing stuff is very difficult.
Yeah, that's correct. But all right, let's be very honest.
Yeah.
The exams that you guys do, the semesters. If
Yeah.
you try really hard, you could do that in 2 days. Any exam.
Hmm.
So what I used to do is completely neglect my exams and do my passion related stuff. I jump into UX, I do mobile apps, and then I jumped into Salesforce. Yeah, but exams has never been a problem. Maybe that's why I was able to manage it, but
Yeah.
it could be a problem to some people.
Hmm.
So if you really want to manage it, maybe find 1 hour on your total day so that you can spend it on your passion.
Yeah.
I mean, just give it a try, man. You are still students and we are in engineering. So pick
Hmm.
something, give it a try. If you like it, see if there are jobs, see if there's a future to it. If not, then switch because you are young and you can be risky.
So when we see startups growing, the basic thing they use is UI only nowadays. When we saw Cred coming up, Cred used to post their UI on the in their ads for the basic promotion. What they did, and So, but Cred, do you think that UI is not the only thing which is responsible? Like, because Cred had a downfall. We know it's been hidden, but we know. So, what we see is that UI didn't provide them that much which they wanted from the tech point of view too. So, what do you
See,
say that?
end of the
Yeah.
day, a digital product should solve your problem. Looks and experience does matter. I mean,
Yeah.
they could get you disruptive in the market. Like you would be different from all the bunch
Yeah.
that they are doing normal work. But if you're not solving the actual core problem of what is your brand showing it, then yeah, you would have downfalls. But I would really appreciate Cred doing their work with UI because they have the
Yeah.
most minimalistic stuff, and I love
Hmm.
them. But it is not everything because end of the day, you should still solve a problem.
So, when do you come across some of the apps, even the famous ones?
Yes.
Then and if you point out something that bro this is not correct, because as an engineer when you use apps it must be a basic thing that okay bro this app is not good, this should not be here, this should not be here. I don't know how the engineers are working and whatever. So how do you deal with that, or do you just build another design and say yeah now it's correct?
Uh, okay, that's a very tough question to answer because I it happens to me every day. I feel
Yeah, yeah.
this is wrong, this is wrong, this font is not good, this is italic. Why did they make it italic? But yeah, you can't do anything. I mean, I do email sometimes to them telling that this is not right, change it. But
Mm.
yeah, sometimes they do care, sometimes they don't. But that feeling is still gonna be there until you become an engineer over there.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're on the other side, then only you'll know as to how things are there.
Yep.
Yeah,
But functionality does come in and play a major picture because looks can only get you so far.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
need that to be very functional, very smooth. I mean, if I could pick one app that does all of these jobs wonderfully, that would be Swiggy. The UI is just
Okay.
perfect
Yeah,
and they have
because
everything going on. Yeah.
they have recently updated it, like I guess 1 or 2 years back when they completely updated, and it looked very good
Yes.
because it was like it gave kind of 3D feel. Earlier it was basic 2D, but again they gave it a 3D feel. So yeah. So do you like how do you stay updated? Like when we see as you only said Swiggy that they have a very good sense of UI UX when it comes. So how do you stay updated? Because if we see Zomato is not on 3D till now. They're still working on 2D stuff only. So
Yes.
how do you stay updated with
Yes.
certain?
Okay. So to actually answer that question,
Mm.
uh, you stay updated depending upon what the customers give you. So end of the day, you are developing something for them. It's not for you to use. It's for them to use. So yeah, Zomato is actually a cool copy for Swiggy. Actually,
Mm.
most of the UI seems similar, but it's not about choosing 3D or 2D. It's about what users really like it. Now, Swiggy tried to switch to 3D and everybody loved it.
Yeah,
So,
obviously.
so now Zomato would try to switch it to 3D, and there would be an actual copy of it. So they might
Mm.
not.
Yeah. But
But to
mm.
stay updated in the sense, feel more design, see what people are developing, because end of the day, it's all what they make, and then we learn from it. If you do design something really good, you are not supposed to reinvent the wheel. That is the major headline. If you're trying to build up a new home button somewhere on the top of the screen, then everybody is not going to click that because
Mm.
they're not used to it. UI
So
UX is more about adding those little touches so that customers feel that they are getting something new, although they are getting very small of it. But yeah, that's how
yeah.
it works.
So every time you don't have to go with the design of what your heart says, you have to also go with the user experience too. Because
Correct.
that's the UX part. Like interface, you can design whatever you want, but you also want the UX part. You want that user experience should be favorable too. As you said that if you keep the button on the top of the screen, then people are not used to that.
Yeah.
Then it might look good with the design, but if people are not used to that, then it's a waste.
You can keep a hold of it. If not, you would go to, maybe if an icon can solve it, if a graphic design can solve it, what do I use and when do I use it?
Okay.
That is how you start. Like, you should go from component to component rather than screen to screen. That way you know why you're doing and what you're doing. So the research becomes so intensive because you're searching, let's say, one image, and you are looking in multiple ways on how that image could be of use. So yeah, that's how you start. I mean, that is when you get very deep into
Yeah,
it.
basic research. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that UI UX, when you're freelancing, so you need to contact some specialist based on some topics, any
Hmm.
topics? Because if you're going for the medical one, if you're going for the engineering, like you are engineer, so not in your case, but in if some other field guy are doing this stuff, so they like psychology stuff or different, very different. So do you think that you have to somehow sometimes contact a specialist too?
It's not sometimes, you always have to contact
Yeah.
somebody on that field. Now, I used to work, I made a design for a healthcare system.
Mm.
So they basically do you the OCR for all the medical reports. They give you some metrics and stuff. So
Okay.
for that, I actually had to meet a real doctor, ask him how they are doing it.
Yeah.
If they are using a mobile app, then what fonts they are using,
Yeah.
what are they most comfortable with. Because some people do not like fancy fonts on their medical
Yeah.
reports.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, so you had to go to them, see, ask if you're using Arial or something, or if you're using bold fonts for these particular type of blood groups, or how do they do it. You might, you see, interacting with people comes at the start of it. If you don't, you might end up creating something whole new instead of what they want.
Mm.
If you're designing something new, it's better to ask somebody. If you are completely unsure, see inspirations.
So just a fun question.
Okay.
When you roam around with your friends and you
Okay.
see a flex and and you point out that the font is not correct, how does your friends react? Like, uh,
They think I'm a geek, man. I'm just going to be
yeah.
honest. Why do you have to pinpoint everything? I mean, I get a lot of it. They sometimes ask me to not see the design, just see, just there's a banner, see it, leave it. But yeah, it just happens when you see designs. You will be like, this is not right. The font goes somewhere else. You'll feel that
Mm.
sometimes you say it out loud. Some of your friends enjoy it. Some may think you're a geek who doesn't know anything. But yeah,
Yeah. Or who knows too much?
yeah, it could go both ways.
Yeah. So who was your first person, the first go-to person?
For design,
No, to show. Like you've made something. Who was the first
okay. When I was in
for
club,
feedbacks? Yeah, for feedbacks.
when I was in club, I used to put it in the group that I have, and
Okay.
then everybody used to react to it. But
Mm.
then I later realized that people have very different perspective to it. So I used to put it in graphic design club separately. So they know
Okay.
what's happening. Okay, this font is wrong. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
in my club, I used to do that. But right now, when I'm freelancing, you'd obviously go to the client, ask him, is this okay? Is this not? But if you had to create the seagull view where you're developing for the entire audience on on your own,
Yeah.
then it would be better if you relied on metrics. There is a chart sheet where you can score how your UI and UX is working. I think
Okay.
it was made by someone. I do not remember it. I'll share that too with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are many Instagrammers who make UI and UX design. They are wonderful people. And let me just find. His name is UI Adrian. He made a chart sheet.
Okay. UI Atrium.
Yes. He even sent out ebooks for reading, where to center it, how to give you white space, everything, all of that. I mean, I have a PDF, but okay, let me just give you a quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be way better. See, this is how you basically, he makes, you have tips how to do what, where to center,
Okay.
how to
Yeah.
create things. Yeah. You also have to remember how much pixels you have to give,
Mm.
how the rows work, how the columns work, everything.
Yeah.
He also made a chart sheet. He's from Canada, if I remember right. But yeah, I'll give you the sheet as well.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
way, maybe you could upload in the description or something. Yeah.
Mhm. So you said like Do you also feel sometimes that like which is the basic platform you put out your work on?
Hmm. It depends really. If it's a client work, you can't put it anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, that
But
is
if it is some of your personal work, the first go-to place would be Dribble. If not, you could go to Behance. Behance is a great
yeah,
platform.
the answer.
Yeah, that is probably where you'll put it. But if you want to monetize and stuff, then Instagram would be great tool too.
So you haven't been putting your stuff on Instagram. Right?
I used to put it, but when clients showed up, I haven't had the time for it.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure if I have the work still running there. I'll find that account for you. I mean them. Yeah. So there were speakers before on this UI and UX.
No, we had on different graphic designing, digital marketing, social media marketing, video editing.
So it's all graphic design.
Huh?
So it's all graphic design.
Uh, you can say in a way, in a way you can say, but yeah. No, content writing is not. No, content writing is both.
Yeah.
You can also use content.
Yeah, I don't think that account is existing. It's gone.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Yeah.
So we'll monetary benefits. Like how much do you make or something? So do you think that UI UX designers, if somebody wants to venture into UI UX designer, it can be a monetary attractive a monetary attractive field for now?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you do get paid hefty if you're a good designer, and you have to have a very decent portfolio. Like I showed you before, you need to have multiple projects, branding, and everything ready. And then if you step into interviews, your package could go way above than a developer. I've seen people earn more than 12 LPAs, more than 7 LPAs for just designing part. So yeah, there are still jobs. It's a very niche because not most of the people now they just want coding jobs and developer jobs, right?
Yeah.
So it
But
could be a new
mm,
platform to try, and yeah, you'll have 7 to 12 is the median package for entry level, and it depends when you grow.
so do you feel that since now some coding jobs are getting extinct in a way, if you say, because uh, like new stuff is not that much coming up, and the old, if you see the big players also, they are getting a bit slowed down. So do you think that rather they are working on UX only, user interface only? So do you feel that that is a reason for UI UX getting these hefty amounts, which in one day used to be a software developer salary too, entry level software developer salary too?
See, in 2011, in 2022 and 21,
Yeah,
almost all major leagues had a lot of software developers.
yeah,
So what happened is there are more than what you need for developing stuff.
yeah,
But UI and UX is our daily process. You want to make changes every day, make sure things fit right,
yeah.
and not many can do it. So
You
you need
have
to have the
feedback
eye
every
for it.
day. Yeah,
Yeah, so you need the eye for it as well. You need a lot of stuff going on. But developers these days, basically, because of the mass hiring that happened before and during COVID,
yeah,
we are seeing a lot of recession that's happening. But yeah, you need developers as much as you need designers.
yeah.
So yeah, they go hand in hand. But most cases, what a design that has been made would be a very hard challenge for a developer to code. That could be a lot of very common case where you had to adjust with your design. But yeah, in a career perspective, I would say pursue it. See if you could grab some internships or probably freelance clients. And if you do find and if you do make good name out of it, maybe do like 10 projects, maybe talk with people who are already in the field, and then maybe get some connections to it. You will be at a decent place, like how the developers are.
So you're working for Excel, right? So do you wanna like are you straight up into this field, or you wanna explore some UI UX placements too in the future?
Right now, Accelrise is like a home to me. They're like very cool people. I
Yeah.
love the culture there, and the package is also decent. Right now, I just want to see how I play out with the developer role.
Uh,
If I do someday want to explore something or doesn't like the role, probably that's when I'll switch.
yeah,
Yes.
because this door is always open for you, the UI UX.
Yeah, I mean it's good to have multiple skills.
Yes.
So yeah, end of the day, it's about you.
So thank you, Arun, for coming with the session and sharing your insights and experiences with us. And I hope our audience who are watching live on YouTube too, and even the members of the club who are here, that they got to learn about UI UX and could delve into the basics or even the advancements of the UI. So thank you, Arun.
Been a great pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Arun, you can leave the meeting if you want.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Been
Yeah,
a great
thank you,
journey.
Arun.
Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. So by this, we come to an end of our GC lecture series. And uh, as we got the feedback from the audience that they loved the series, and in the future also we'll be coming up with the same. We covered the variety of topics: content writing, video editing, graphic designing, social media marketing, digital marketing. And the more topics if you want, which should be get covered in the future of GC lecture series, do drop down the comments in the YouTube. And yeah, GC will be here with another round of GC lecture series if you want. Thank you. Yeah.